members are present. So we have with us tonight two troops here tonight. Actually, Troop 16 is present, but Troop 88 tonight is going to be doing the flag ceremony. Correct, gentlemen? Is that correct?
All right.
Yep. And you get bonus points for having a member that has a beard. All right. So it's called a neared. It's nearly a beard. No, it's a pretty good beard. All right, gentlemen, the floor is yours. Audience.
Color guard, attention. Audience, please rise. Color guard, forward march. Color guard, hold. Color guard, please post the colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Color guard, reform rank. Color guard, about face. Color guard, forward march. Color guard, hold. About face. Color guard at ease. Audience, you may be seated.
Fantastic. I was waiting for you to tell them to go about face like one more time just for kicks. You know, about face, and then when they all turn around, about face one more time and see if anyone catches on.
Simon says.
So, yeah, Simon says, about face. All right. Next up on our agenda, we have special presentations. Mr. Cleveland, do we have any special presentations tonight that we need to be aware of?
I do not believe so.
Okay. All right. Then next up is our Parker Chamber of Commerce updates. Do we have a member from the Parker Chamber here this evening?
I think they're on spring break.
Yeah, I think most of them are on spring break,
Dennis is still out of town, I believe.
sitting
as
on a
well.
beach somewhere. All right, so we'll go ahead and move forward from that. Next item on our agenda is public comment. This is an opportunity for you guys to come up and address council. I will say this, if you're here for an item that is on the agenda, and we have 9 public hearings tonight, if you're here for an item that is on the agenda, wait for that item. There will be public comment specific to that item. This time, the public comment we have is for items that are not on our agenda tonight. There's a 3-minute time limit. You'll see there's a clock above me, and I've got one on the back wall as well. You'll come up, state your name and address for the record. When you start your public comment, the timer will start. At the end of the 3 minutes, I'm not being rude. I'm going to say thank you very much and invite the next person up. No action will be taken on these public comment items because this is just general public comment. So with that, we'll open it up at 7:03 if there's anyone here to address council. State your name and address for the record, please, sir.
Yeah, I'm Jim McGannon, 7665 Woodford, Parker.
Okay. Oh,
Want me to start over?
no, I got you.
I am not a resident of Parker, but I'm your neighbor to the south, along the south boundary. And what we do as neighbors affects each one of us, vice versa. I have some suggestions as your neighbor. I use the businesses in the community. I'm a patron of the businesses. I drive through your community like all of us do every day. And I would like to encourage Parker, as I am encouraging the state and the county, to use more roundabouts on major intersections. I believe Parker, and I have a lot of experience driving through roundabouts, and I've heard negative comments about them, but in general, if you want traffic to flow efficiently and not have to pay for expensive intersection lights, and by the way, I have been involved with roundabout task forces when I worked for the city of Colorado Springs, in addition to my own experience. I think you've missed an opportunity on Chambers and Hess, especially 20 Mile and other major thoroughfares through the area with roundabouts that could have been installed. So for efficiency's sake and flow of traffic, I encourage you to consider using more roundabouts. And as far as your Main Street, my wife and I like to come down to Main Street, but we've been avoiding Main Street, and I think that's sad. The traffic is terrible. It's not safe to walk. It's very loud. And So I'm not here to bash Parker. I'm here as a neighbor to tell you and a visitor that it's, if I was to make one recommendation, I know I'm a little late because the master plan's been implemented. I would encourage you to reroute Main Street around the town and turn it into a pedestrian walkway. So for whatever that's worth, we still like to come to Main Street, but we've noticed some neat improvements. Oh man, I got 53 seconds. Okay, so lastly, I noticed in your Parker newsletter, you want residents to tell you what to do with ABCD. I suggest that you leave ABC as open, maybe pedestrian plazas, concerts over here where I see you have open land. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Jim. All right, anybody else? All right, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next item. We're going to close public comment at 7:07 and move on to reports and items from mayor and council. Because of the agenda tonight being so long with 9 public hearings, council has agreed that we're going to go ahead and skip updates from mayor and council to help save some time.
So we're just skipping yours.
Just skipping mine, yeah, exactly. Mine's the 2-hour one. So we're all not here till 2 in the morning. So we're going to move off of that. Next item up is item number 6. This is our consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine. They'll be enacted with one motion and one vote unless a council member asks to have something removed for further discussion. So with that, council, I'd entertain further discussion or motion on consent agenda items 6A through 6F.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Josh Rivero and a second from Renee. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item on our agenda is our first public hearing. So we're going to start with item number 7A. This is a public hearing for 20 Mile Industrial Park, filing number 2, First Amendment, subdivision exception lot 2A, Parker Racket Club site plan. And there's 2 items, 1 and 2, the site plan and the development agreement. Paul, you're going to be our leader tonight. And of course you are, because you have such an awesome beard. Nobody laughed at that, man. Usually the bearded man is the leader in the room.
That makes my heart happy, Mr.
That makes
Mayor.
your heart happy. There you go. Excellent. And the beard makes your face warm in the wintertime. So
That's exactly right.
see?
And snowy days like
Snowy
yesterday, it was
days.
well worth it.
All right, you're up.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. Good evening, additional members of Town Council. It's nice to be here this evening. As was just mentioned, the first public hearing this evening is case number SP 17-044, is a site plan request for approval on town-owned property. The subject property is generally bound by Plaza Drive to the north, 20 Mile to the west, and Championship Drive to the east. Parker Fieldhouse is located directly east of the subject property, and Railbender Park is located west of the subject property. The site is currently designated as light industrial within the town's master plan. It is zoned within the Clark plan development for mixed-use commercial and light industrial type uses. The request this evening is for a proposed use by right. However, the town's land development ordinance does require any development on town-owned property to come before town council for your approval, which is what brings us here this evening. The site itself is just under 5 acres, and the proposed building is in the neighborhood of 47,000 square feet. Specifics of the use on the property would be a new indoor racket and activity facility. Proposed is 6 indoor courts, a welcome center, and associated locker rooms. One of the benefits to this is that the residents of Parker get an additional recreational amenity without the town having to monitor and maintain the facility. So that's a certain benefit for the town. Again, the request this evening is a use by right for a site plan. The use by right is one of 3 categories a use can fall into. A use by right are generally those uses that are consistent with the underlying zone district. A good example would be a restaurant within a commercial zoned area. A second is use by special review, which we will hear later this evening. Those uses may present certain external impacts that may not be anticipated by the intent of the zone district and require some increased scrutiny. And then there are those prohibited uses which are just not allowed. Again, the request in this particular case is for a site plan. It's not a discretionary action. The application is reviewed against the development criteria within the land development ordinance and the development design standards. If it meets those standards, it should be approved. This is a site plan of the property. The structure itself located in the southeast corner of the site. Again, Plaza Drive on the north, Championship Drive on the east, and 20 Mile on the west. The site is surrounded on the perimeter by additional landscaping and then parking located in the north of the building. The proposed access is off of Championship Drive to align with the Parker Fieldhouse access in order to create cross-access for pedestrians that may be using both. And these are some 3D color renderings of the building itself. The bottom left corner is the main entrance, which is incorporating changes in the roof angle, a patio, display windows, which are all required by the code. Additionally, the site is a variety of colors. It contains a variety of changes in plane, again, all required by the design standards. And then the roof of the facility broken up by what are called monitor elements, which are the projections that stick above the roof line there with windows as part of that. So again, the review of this type of application is relatively narrow in scope. It is a review for compliance with the land development ordinance and the design standards. That analysis was detailed in staff's report. This slide here is a summary of what those standards were and whether or not the application complied. After performing that review, staff did determine that the application meets those requirements. In terms of referral agency response, to date, staff received responses with either advisory comments or no comments. To date, staff has not been contacted by anyone from the public with any questions or concerns related to the request. And with that, on March 8th of this year, Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend to Town Council that they approve, subject to the two conditions, the requested site plan for a racket club. The two conditions are detailed again in staff's report, but a summary is provided on the screen. And that would conclude staff's first presentation for this evening, but certainly we are available for any questions you all may have.
Okay. Council, do you have any questions for staff? No? Jim, could we go straight into the second presentation and hold public comment on both, or do we need to have public comment separate for the two?
I believe there's only one presentation.
That's correct.
The development agreement, do we?
That would just be a separate motion.
Okay, all right, fantastic, thank you very much.
We could do a short presentation, but it's pretty dry.
It's
if
pretty
you want
dry.
to know about
No,
public
that's fine.
involvement.
Just wanted to make sure I didn't want to skip over anything. All right, council, any questions? None? All right, then we're going to open it up for public comment at 7:14.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, the applicant does have a short presentation that they would like to share with council
I
at this
haven't,
time.
is the applicant here?
They are.
Oh, back corner. I didn't know you were actually presenting. I thought you were just here to say hi. Come on down. Oh, I didn't see Barry was sitting over there too.
You have the A team tonight.
The A team tonight. There was going to be a request to see you juggle 4 tennis balls at the same time, but you know. All right, if you could state your name and address for the record, please.
You got it. My name is Steve Prasowski. I'm at 4808 South Granby Street.
And I'm probably one of only 5 people in this room who know how to spell your last name, so would you go ahead and spell it for the record, please?
For sure. It's Prosowski.
Okay.
First of all, I want to thank Town Council and Mr. Mayor for seeing us tonight. We are super excited about the progress we'll be making on this project and look to kind of extend our partnership with the town as we go forward into the future. We've had a 14-year-long relationship with the town of Parker as far as Parker Tennis. We started out at Chaparral High School, have since grown into Railbender, and have since outgrown Railbender, which is why we bring you this project. I am out currently at the courts when the weather allows, and I can tell you that there is a wait for people to play tennis basically every day I'm out there. So the need for tennis is certainly something that we are addressing and are very excited about bringing to the town of Parker as well. Just to kind of let you know a little bit about things that we're really excited about bringing. It's the first public and private partnership that the town of Parker has done. We're very excited to be the first people that pull this off with you guys for sure. Some of the main things that we'll be offering that other clubs that do not offer in the area, the main is that we'll be open to the public. Memberships are available to all Parker community members and other communities outside the area. We'll offer lessons, leagues, socials, drills, and tournaments for all ages of play and skill level. And then we'll also make sure that we're providing programs for ages from elementary school all the way through seniors at all kind of different levels, which is something that we have not been able to offer in the past. We're really excited about the option of growth for what we can do with our new indoor club. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Craig.
And again, name and address for the record, just so we have it.
I'm Craig Marshall, and I live at 11164 Cambridge Court in Parker. And to piggyback a little bit on Steve, what his vision, and Barry as well, the vision for our Parker Racquet Club is to provide a public facility with private perks, meaning memberships. But what is truly amazing about this new amenity that will be here in Parker is that we can hold many community events, which will revolve around tennis, of course, but the location is absolutely awesome, because the location being right next to the field house, on the other side is Rail Bender, it creates so many outstanding opportunities for families and adults alike. Also, being the junior director of Parker Tennis since 2011, it will give a year-round benefit for those families and kids. But if you're looking up here on our presentation, there is going to be so much additional commerce coming into Parker as a result of high school events, regionals, state tournaments, college events, and even professional events, which is the futures level, which is, I'll be honest, it's the lowest breaking in level of the pro circuit. But with that, we will be also in a partnership with the Parker Fieldhouse with camps and clinics like the Fieldhouse already offers. So this is a wonderful location, a wonderful facility to make everything even that much better. Thank you. Oh, and I will now introduce our amazing architect who's been with us for our entire project, Krista.
Thank you, Craig.
Krista, I think someone started to applaud when you started to come up. I thought I heard that. Krista, name and address for the record, please.
Krista Plaza, 509 East Cannon Street, Lafayette, Colorado. And I'm with Essenza Architecture. Thank you, Paul, for introducing this project and for all of your help. And Mr. Mayor and council members, good evening, and thank you for hearing us out. And I just want to first of all say what a great team of people this has been to work with, both the staff and of course Parker Tennis. They have really hung in there with this project, and we're excited to be part of it. So really quickly, I know you have a lot of public hearings tonight. So first, site connections. I thought I'd just share a little bit about that and how this is a campus of athletic buildings, which we love because it promotes physical activity. We've got the field house to the east, we've got Rail Bender Skate Park to the west, and gymnastics to the south. So what a perfect spot. And then let's see, just a little bit about the architecture. I don't know how many of you are familiar with it, but we really wanted to enhance this site and complement the buildings around and the surrounding area, and look at the colors, materials, textures, landscaping, all of the things that make this site important. So we really made a lot of effort to break up the facade. It's a very large building, and we really wanted to make this a nice amenity for the town. A little bit about the inside. Some of you may not have seen the inside yet, but it is meant to be a nice welcome center, very inviting, warm materials, beautiful finishes, basically a great place for the community to gather. And then here's a quick materials board just showing textures, materials, and colors, and what it might feel like in the space. So we're just very excited about this project, and I'll hand it back to Steve.
Just want to close up and thanking you guys again for having us. Council members, Mr. Mayor, thanks again. And we're really excited about this long-awaited project. I look forward to seeing all of you on the tennis court, whether you want to or not. I'm going to make sure that councilmen and mayors are coming out to play tennis whenever possible. So thank you guys again.
Absolutely. Council, do you have any questions for Steve, Krista, or Craig?
Steve, do any of you guys have an update on the art? Where are we with that condition?
No update on the art yet.
Council, any other questions? No? No. All right, thank you guys very much.
Again.
All right, so we'll go ahead and move to public comment at 7:21 p.m. So here's kind of the rules for public comment. This applies for all the hearings tonight. So whether you're here for this one or another one, the rules still apply, so I won't have to repeat it 9 times. Here's the basics of it. We're all adults in the room with the exception of some of the scouts who are really close to being adults. But we can all follow the golden rule, and we all respect the fact that we each have our God-given right to our own opinion. So during public comment tonight, you may hear someone give public comment that you agree with. You may hear someone give public comment that you don't agree with. That's their right to have their opinion, and we're all going to respect each other's rights to those opinions. So that means what you will do when you come up is give your opinion. What you won't do is when someone else is giving theirs, there's not going to be booing or hissing or applauding or screaming or yelling or any of that kind of stuff, because we all are adults in the room. So there, like I said earlier, there's a 3-minute time limit. The clock will start once you give your name and address. When you get to 0, I will thank you and ask the next person to come up. So I'm not being rude, just want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to give their and to come up first in this section over here. Now's the time.
Oh.
There's nobody moving. All right, I gave that big old long speech for nothing. In the center.
Okay.
Jeebers. All right, this side. Look at that, holy cow, against the wall. And that was, my speech was longer than public comment tonight. We're gonna go ahead and close public comment at 7:23 p.m. And council, I will entertain further discussions or a motion, please.
So just real quick for Steve and Barry, I don't know, it was 6-7 years ago when we sat down and had the sort of initial discussion. I think it was right after the Pace Center actually opened.
22 years ago, 6 years something, I don't know.
And with all due respect to your initial plan, we see a lot of these things, whether it's Olympic swimming pools or 5 sheets of ice or any, and in all fairness, this is not the physique of a tennis player, so I know nothing about tennis. And
Rugby tennis player.
so there was probably, I would say, some doubt as to whether we were going to get to this point and bring it to fruition. So just kudos to you and your team, and obviously Jim and your staff and town staff for getting to this point. But you've far exceeded my expectation. I know the facility will do that as well. So thank you very much for everything you've done, and I look forward to seeing it vertical.
Any other comments, council? Josh?
Yeah, again, I want to say kudos. This has been a long and deep process, ups and downs, and I truly admire your perseverance. I had no idea there was such an outpouring of support for tennis. The number one ask we get is obviously for water. You know, can we get swim lanes? Can we get swim lanes? Can we get swim lanes? Can we get sheets of ice? Yet you guys did it with the public-private partnership, came to us with a plan and have almost executed it, and shortly probably will. So kudos. I wish there were other public-private partnerships that would step up, maybe some swim clubs and maybe some hockey clubs, because I think this is the area to do it. So thank you.
Amazing.
Amy, do you have anything? No?
Well, just following your direction. I agree with these two.
Sweet chicken. All right. Guys on this side, anything?
Amazing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thrilled, I can't wait to play.
Yeah, I'll try.
Try. Since the mayor doesn't get to vote on stuff, I don't want to influence their decision since we haven't voted yet, so I'll save my comments till after everyone is done. So with that, I'll entertain a motion, please.
I move to approve based on staff findings with the 2 conditions contained in the staff report.
Second?
We have a motion from John and a second from Amy. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Now my input onto it.
Hang on, there's the second one.
Oh, one more. Uno más. Por favor, go for it.
I move to approve the staff recommendation for approval of the development agreement.
Second?
Motion by John motion by Josh and a second by Renee. Council, please vote. I'm off my game tonight. Motion passes unanimously. Now I can give my opinion. I met Steve and his wife, Kristen, when they first moved here, I don't know, 400 years ago, probably. I was maybe the fourth person to meet them. I met Barry pretty soon afterwards, and sentiment same as Josh has said. We get hit with everything in terms of the town should provide for its citizens, and we agree, but we have a limited financial bucket to dip into. Everything from $54 million swim facilities to tennis to everything you can imagine in between. I want to say that over this period of time, I have never met individuals that are as polite, professional, and diligent as you guys have been in bringing this together. So I have no question in my mind of the success that you guys will enjoy, and I look forward to learning to play tennis someday and getting my butt whooped by y'all. So congratulations. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next item on our agenda, which is 7B. This is a public hearing for Pine Bluffs filing number 4, standalone emergency room use by special review. Paul, you're going to roll again?
That's right. You get me again, like it or not.
All right.
Good evening once again. The second hearing before you this evening is case Z17-016. As was just referenced, it is a request for a use by special review for a standalone emergency room. Subject property for this request is located at the northeast corner of Hess Road and Parker Road. The site specifically is circled with the red circle. Is located just below the drainage pond that's there. The site is currently zoned within the Pine Bluffs PD for commercial uses, and within that particular zone district, emergencies and standalone emergency rooms are required to obtain a use by special review, which is what brings us here this evening. This is a concept site plan submitted by the applicant should the application be approved. This is generally the site layout that the applicant would intend to pursue. Again, the building located kind of in the center of the site with the detention pond located directly to the north. So different than the previous case we just heard, this is a use by special review, which is a discretionary action based on council's determination as to the compliance with the 9 approval criteria for a use by special review. At this stage, with the use by special review, detailed site development is not reviewed at this stage, but certainly conditions related to that are common. So the specific request this evening is for a standalone emergency room once again. The operations would be 24/7. The applicant anticipates an average of 15 patient visits per day, an average of 32 total trips generated per day on average, and the site itself would employ roughly 40 folks. Now, not all of those folks would be on site at any one time. They would obviously work in shifts, but that would be at full capacity. One of the differences between this type of facility and some of the other facilities that are found within town is that the staff at this type of facility is trained in emergency medicine and would be able to provide those types of services, whereas some of the other urgent care facilities that are within town do not have those capabilities. To be clear, site access is not reviewed or approved as part of the use by special review criteria. That is approved through the plat process, which is running administratively, separate from this particular request. However, during the course of the review of this application, town staff, the Pine Bluffs HOA, and the applicant have all worked together to consider a reconfigured access on the north side of the subject property. The site itself has existing or will have 3 points of access to serve the commercial development. There is a stub for a full movement intersection on the east side of the site on Pine Bluffs Way. There is a right in, right out on the south side of the site along Hess Road. And then on the northern side of the site is what is proposed as reconfigured access, which is on the right side of your screen in front of you. This proposed reconfiguration would completely separate residential traffic from commercial traffic. Coming in from Parker Road, which would be on the left-hand side of the image, commercial traffic would be able to peel off and make this direct right turn into the commercial development without entering into the residential area. Vice versa, any commercial traffic leaving this area would be able to make this left out onto Shady Ridge Road and then access onto Parker Road. The residential traffic would still maintain their full movement capabilities at Shady Ridge and Pine Bluffs, and would be able to make a left into the residential subdivision and then continue to make their right out to access Parker Road. So after a number of iterations, this was determined to be the best solution in order to try and separate the commercial traffic from residential traffic as much as possible. Related to that, during the course of review, staff heard public comment generally related to 3 separate issues. The first is access, which was just discussed, so we won't go into detail in that again, but suffice it to say that the proposed revision to the maximum extent possible separates the commercial and the residential traffic. Another point of conversation with the neighborhood was noise, specifically related to ambulance noise. It is South Metro protocol to turn off those sirens once they would exit the main streets, so Parker Road. Their lights would maintain, but their sirens would come off once they exit Parker Road. So staff determined that there would be no additional noise impact beyond that would already exist along Parker Road. The additional conversation was related to lighting, both related to the ambulance lighting as well as the site lighting itself. The ambulance lights, again, would stay on until the ambulance would reach the facility itself. However, it is important to note that South Metro protocol requires that emergent patients be taken to a hospital. So there would be an unlikely circumstance, there would be a major event or an emergency room would be unable to take in new patients, where an emergent patient would be delivered via ambulance to this facility. So with that, and as well, once the ambulance would be within the facility and in the covered patio, which is proposed as part of the preliminary site plan, there would be minimal impact from the lights. And as it relates to the site lighting, during the site plan review, the application will be required to meet the town's lighting ordinance, just like any other commercial development, which has certain limitations for how bright or dark certain sections of the property can be. It also has maximum quote unquote light spillage at property lines that are consistent with any other commercial development in town. These are the 9 approval criteria for use by special review. These are detailed in staff's report. Staff will not go through each one of these individually in detail. However, suffice it to say that during the review of the application, a couple of highlights is that the request is consistent with the town master plan. As previously mentioned, this site is zoned for commercial. It's called out as a commercial center within the town's master plan, which envisions a variety of commercial uses. That there's no undue traffic or congestion hazards. Again, with the reconfiguration of the access to the north and the subsequent condition, recommended condition on the request, that has been satisfied. And then again, all of the landscaping, buffering, screening, lighting, all of that sort of stuff will be reviewed in detail with the site plan, the future site plan, should this be approved. And all of those items would need to be in compliance with the town's land development ordinance. In terms of referral agency response, referral agencies have responded with either no comment or advisory comments. With that, on March 8th again of this year, Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend Town Council approve, subject to the 4 conditions, the requested use by special review for a standalone emergency room. Again, the conditions are detailed in the staff report and summarized on the screen. That would conclude the presentation for this particular public hearing, but certainly we're available again for any questions.
Council, before we have the applicant come up, do you have any questions? No? Is the applicant available?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the applicant is.
Okay. If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
I'd be happy to. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. For the record, my name is Wendy Birchler. I'm a land planner and landscape architect with Norris Design, 1101 Bannock Street, Denver, Colorado. I'm pleased to be here tonight on behalf of HCA, representing their request for a use by special review to allow a freestanding emergency department within the existing Pine Bluffs PD. I'd like to thank Paul Workman and the town staff for working with us through the review process. As Paul has outlined in his presentation, this request is consistent with the Parker 2035 master plan with the town's land development ordinance and meets the approval criteria for a use by special review. Our development team, including HCA and representatives from Skyridge Medical Center, in addition to our consultant team, are here and happy to answer any questions that you may have about the application. In addition, because Dennis Houston, the CEO of the Parker Chamber of Commerce, was unable to join us this evening, I do have a letter to read on his behalf. It says, Mayor and council members, thank you for your public service to the citizens of Parker. As CEO of the Parker Area Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center, I write to you on behalf of our 600 Parker area business partners, their 18,000 employees, and the jobs they represent in the region. I ask you for your full support of the Skyridge Emergency Room in Parker. Thousands of families move here because Parker has an amazing hometown feel that reminds them of where they grew up. Parker has an incredible sense of place and a strong feeling of safe community. The Skyridge Emergency Room will give current and new residents that same feeling in the future. Future growth on the south side of our community will create additional needs for emergency care. Skyridge will be a great option for them on the south side of Parker. Many of our own Parker family, friends, and neighbors already work for Skyridge Medical Center. As a matter of fact, over 200 families in Parker make their living at Skyridge. They are Parker's Little League coaches, dance moms, church volunteers, and community leaders. Skyridge has the best interests of Parker citizens in mind with this incredible emergency room that will be a great addition to our community. Thank you for your support of Skyridge and our entire healthcare community in Parker. Thank you, Dennis Houston. And I have copies. And that concludes my presentation. We're happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Council, any questions for Wendy? Josh?
So I noticed in the project narrative that you spoke about the South Metro protocol. There would be no South Metro buses using this emergency care because they'd all be headed straight up. Yet you do talk about the ambulance service, 6 visits per month. Are we talking to just about transfers for emergency care after they come in and are diagnosed and then triage or whatever, then they would be transferred up to overnight care? Is that the ambulance visits we're looking at? Or does HCA have a contract with a private ambulance service?
Hello, Kirk McCarty, 41875 Muirfield Loop, Elizabeth, Colorado. I'm the COO of Skyridge. I'm also a nurse. The objective here is not to transport patients there. It would be transport patients from there to the closest facility based on the needs of the patient.
Excellent. And there is no contract. I know that there's private buses running around everywhere. This is no contract.
No.
That this would be a dump house for the private industry.
No.
This was, nope. Okay. Thank you very much.
Just impressed he's got the terminal buses and HCA. Other questions, council? Nope. All right. Thank you very much. I do have a question. Paul, in terms of this process, you mentioned earlier on that you've worked, that the town has been, and the applicant has been working with the HOA for Pine Bluffs.
That's correct.
My understanding is Pine Bluffs has also submitted a letter of support on this. If you could go into that a little bit more.
Yes, absolutely. Related to the revised access, the Pine Bluffs HOA did provide a letter of support. Just very briefly, please consider this correspondence as our agreement to your request of written approval for the rendering regarding the Town of Parker's latest proposal for the Parker Road entryway, in parentheses, Shady Ridge Parkway, to the proposed freestanding emergency clinic presented to us on February 14th at Town Hall, reflected in the attachment that was forwarded to us.
Okay, awesome. All right, council, last chance before public comment. Questions?
Just want to give kudos to the staff, to the HOA for the workout for the access. I thought that was outstanding. I know it's like our 3rd or 4th rendering, and I think it's just a great representation of great customer service. So thank you again to all.
Okay. With that, we'll open up public comment at 7:40 p.m. I'm not going to do my speech again because you all heard it. If you didn't hear it, ask a neighbor because they can tell you what I said. So with that, we'll open it up for public comment at 7:41. If there's anyone wanting to come down to address council, just come on down. I'm not going to do the segments again because no one took advantage of it, right? That's all right. So if you'll, if you'll state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Rox, R-O-X, Shane, S-H-A-I-N. I'm at 12098 South Majestic Pine Way in the Pine Bluffs neighborhood.
Okay.
I've been a resident of Parker since 1993, so I've seen the changes over the years. I've seen a lot of good, and I've seen some, to be honest with you, some poor decisions that have been made over that time period. As a resident of Pine Bluffs, I know the HOA board members have worked with Parker, the city of Parker, to reroute the access. They call it the best, but it's still not very good. Your access into our neighborhood. End of story. They say it won't happen. They got a right-hand turn directly out of there into our neighborhood. It will provide or increase traffic into the neighborhood. Again, they say it won't happen, but it will. Let's just be evidence, not be naive, that once a new access is opened up into our neighborhood directly from a commercial area, it will increase traffic into our neighborhood. We have kids, we have buses, we have people walking, and it will impact, I believe, adversely impact a potential home resale, especially those that are on the lower side. I'm actually on the upper side, so I won't be able to see it, but it'll still impact. I just ask that the town council really consider the access point and access point into the facility. I'm not arguing the point or disagreeing with the point of the emergency room requirement. I do agree with it. We do need it with the growth, but it's just access into the neighborhood. That's been my only problem. I'm one of the original neighbors in that neighborhood. I've been there 11 years, and I just don't want my property values or impact to the neighborhood or quality of life be diminished in any way due to the access point. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right. Any, next up for public comment. All right. Seeing none, we'll close public comment at 7:43 p.m. Council, I'll entertain further discussion.
I do have a question
Yes.
for Paul. Number 4 of the conditions. So the town and HOA, the developer, everybody's continuing to work still on the Shady Ridge Parkway access.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
That was not a final.
That's correct. At this time, there's still some detailed engineering that's being done to make sure that it meets engineering standards, but everybody's in agreement that that is the path forward.
Okay. John? And then I'll come back.
I don't know how to address this, but based on the citizens' comments, could we go through the scenarios, or would it be appropriate to kind of go through the scenarios? Because I remember us getting a narrative on the different options. I know Councilmember Rivero said that this is the 3rd or 4th revision, but would it be appropriate to kind of talk about the scenarios that we discussed?
Sure. I'll start, and then I may ask Alex Mesta, our engineering services manager, to jump in. But so dating back to the early 2000s, the subject property was actually granted basically what we would refer to as a teed access right onto Shady Ridge Road, right in this area here. So there would be a direct outlet, if you will, into the neighborhood. Understanding the
So just for like non-engineering layman's in the room there, the map that's showing right there with the red circle on it, instead of that access point being what is being proposed, that access would be exactly the way it is now. That's what was originally approved, with a stub coming out of the middle.
correct.
Of that
There would be a stop sign.
Just what I'm referring to, I think what John's asking is like what was originally approved when this whole development was approved way back when.
Sure, the original access was actually a curb cut directly to the residential road. It was actually east of the red circle along that residential loop, just a straight curb cut to that residential road.
Okay.
That was the originally approved access.
And Mayor, just so we're clear, in terms of an approved access, it was part of an approved plat. It was also part of an approved development agreement.
Okay, so this is above that, above and beyond that. John?
Yeah, no. So, I mean, to me, where I was going with this is that there were numerous adjustments, alterations to the original access point considered. One of which included the basically curbing over of the access to the residential piece. You know, to me, I've been in Parker as well, and from a CDOT standpoint, CDOT does not allow residential access from a highway. It's more of a commercial access. I think in discussions, we've heard that's a commercial access point, and it's a little strange because you have a residential plan there that was built first. Usually rooftops start first, and then the commercial comes second. So to me, I just want to sort of address that there have been multiple revisions that we've talked about, but your HOA said that this was the best one. So we did our best to try and figure out how to appease the residential people. But if that's not consistent or appropriate, I'm happy to discuss anything further on that matter.
So just to clarify, John, what you're saying is in terms of CDOT, since Parker Road is a state highway, this isn't a commercial access point being attached to a this isn't commercial being attached to a residential access point. This was residential being attached to a commercial. This was because it's coming off of Parker Road.
Yeah, I think.
Just to put it in.
I think in one of our study sessions, we had one of our staff people mention this is a commercial access point. I would be in agreement with that, and you know, to me, that may be kind of counterintuitive, but just to try to maybe further the discussion that this was built with the purpose of being a commercial access point, not a residential access point.
Okay, Josh?
That was exactly where I was going with that this was designed originally not for the residential access, but for commercial.
Okay. Any other comments, council? Nope, then I'll entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
I move to approve based on staff findings with the 4 conditions contained in the staff report.
Second.
We have a motion from Debbie and a second from Josh. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item is 7C. This is a public hearing for service plans for Belford South and Belford North Metropolitan Districts. This was continued from March 5th, 2018. There are 2 items. Item number 1 is resolution number 18-030. This is a resolution to approve the first amended and restated service plan for Belford South Metropolitan District. And number 2 is resolution number 18-031, which is a resolution to approve the formation of a Title 32 special district for Belford North Metropolitan District. Mr. Maloney, you're going to be our guru on this one and lead the presentation.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. As the mayor indicated, there were separate notices that were given under state law for public hearings to be held on March 5th, that would be your last council meeting, concerning the formation of a Title 32 special district named Belford North Metropolitan District, and 2 for a First Amendment and restated service plan for Belford South Metropolitan District. The town council, based upon the request of the applicants, continued the public hearing to tonight. In your packet, there's a vicinity map, and it's also on the overhead projector, that describes the boundaries of the Belford South Metropolitan District and the boundaries of the proposed Belford North Metropolitan District. The collective boundaries for both comprise the project that is commonly known as the Compark Village South project, which was annexed and zoned by Town Council on January 25th of 2015. So if you look at the overhead, the area that's outlined in blue is Belford North Metropolitan District, and the area that's located in yellow is Belford South Metropolitan District. And the blue and the yellow comprise what was the Compark Village South project, which again was annexed and zoned on January 25th, 2015. The Belford South Metropolitan District contains the residential portions of the Compark Village South project, again south of Belford Avenue, as depicted on the vicinity map. The Belford North Metropolitan District contains the commercial portions of the Compark Village South project north of Belford Avenue as depicted on the vicinity map. On March 21st, 2016, the Town Council, by Resolution number 1622, approved the original service plan for the Belford South Metropolitan District, which was subsequently organized and is the existing special district. The Belford South Metropolitan District proposes to amend and reinstate the service plan to be essentially the same as the proposed service plan for Belford North Metropolitan District, with the Belford South Metropolitan District serving as a residential district and the Belford North Metropolitan District serving as the commercial district. The service plans contain a singular capital plan and financing plan sharing shared costs and financing by these districts. The Belford South Metropolitan District consists of 86.4 acres of residential, and the Belford North Metropolitan District consists of 65.48 acres of commercial. The projected population of the residential is 1,312 persons based upon 2.5 persons per household. The project build-out for the commercial is estimated approximately 500,000 to 750,000 square feet. The build-out schedule is projected to be completed by the end of 2020 for the residential, and the commercial build-out of the project is to be completed by the end of 2030. The districts are not authorized to provide ongoing operations or maintenance services, except that the districts will be authorized to own, operate, maintain, and contract with the Homeowners Association for the operations and maintenance of the Green Acres Tributary Channel Detention Pond improvements and the Happy Canyon Creek Tributary Channel improvements. These storm drainage improvements, as specifically designated during platting, will be operated and maintained by the Homeowners Association or the district. The district is further authorized to impose an operation and maintenance mill levy of not more than 10 mills for this purpose. Revenue from the drainage operation and maintenance levy may be used by the district for operation and maintenance of these storm drainage improvements. The total estimated improvements will cost $27 million, of which $17.7 million is anticipated for street improvement costs and $4.3 million is anticipated for storm drainage improvement costs. The total aggregate debt limit for both districts is $31 million. In terms of mill levies, there'll be a residential mill levy of 35 mills for the Belford South Metropolitan District, and the commercial mill levy is 50 mills for the Belford North Metropolitan District, and both are subject to a Gallagher adjustment. In addition, as I've indicated, there will be an additional levy not to exceed 10 mills for maintenance and operation of specified storm drainage improvements subject to approval by intergovernmental agreement between the town and the metropolitan districts. In addition, as noted above, there will be an additional mill levy not to exceed 10 mills for maintenance and operation of specified storm drainage improvements subject to approval again by intergovernmental agreement. In terms of fees, the service plans propose a district development fee of $25,000 for single-family detached or attached units and $20,000 for multifamily units. For uses other than single-family or multifamily residential structure, the service plan proposes a district development fee of $25,000 per single-family equivalent of water and or wastewater demand. This fee is necessary to pay for significant water and wastewater infrastructure and is further discussed in the updated letter from the district council contained in your packet, which describes in greater detail the basis for these development fees and related issues. In your packet this evening are two resolutions. The purpose of resolution number 1830 is to approve the request for the Belford South Metropolitan District to amend and restate its service plan. The purpose of resolution 31 is to approve the proposed service plan for Belford North Metropolitan Districts. Both resolutions are being considered as a part of one public hearing for the reason that the service plans for these districts are essentially the same, except for the Belford South Metropolitan District serves as the residential district, and the Belford North Metropolitan District serves as the commercial district. The recommendation is to approve both resolutions that are in your packet this evening. And tonight, I think the applicant is represented by the law firm of McGeady and Betcher, and specifically Cassia Furman, and I think Emily Murphy's here, as well as Mike Vickers representing the applicant. Any questions, Mayor, Council?
Council, questions for Jim?
Oh, wait.
No? Okay, if the applicant's here, would like to come forward. If you have anything else to add, this is the time. If you'll state your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. It's Emily Murphy, 2682 South William Street, and I'm an attorney for McGeady Becker, and we represent the applicant. And currently, we don't have any additional comments to add to Mr. Maloney's presentation, but I'm available for any questions that Town Council has.
Okay, Council, questions for the applicant?
I guess my biggest question is, with the two metro districts, is there any chance for bleed over? We know, as on the previous ruling, Mr. Dyack stated rooftops proceed commercial, and let's say commercial doesn't come in, will be added burden to those residents that buy in the metro, the South Metro District. Could there be added burden to those residents?
No, so pursuant to the service plans and why we did them in separate ones is one's purely residential, one's purely commercial. So the burden bared by the residential will only be that mill levy authorized in the service plan, so there shouldn't be any bleed over.
Thank you.
Okay. Council, other questions? Nope. Thank you very much. That was pretty easy, wasn't it?
I like it.
You had the big old packet up there. You were ready to go if there was going to be big, tough questions, right? All right, so since this is a public hearing, we'll go ahead and open it up for public comment at 7:57. If there's anyone here wishing to address council on this item. Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment at 7:57, and I'll entertain further discussion or a motion, please, on the two items.
Move to approve resolution number 18.030 and resolution number 18-031.
Second.
We have a motion by Josh and a second by Josh. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item up is item D. This is Salisbury Equestrian Park, Lot 1, Parker Water and Sanitation, Bulk Water Distribution Station, Site Plan Amendment. And Carolyn, you're going to be the lead for us today, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a little delay there.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Well, I'm kind of waiting for the...
Oh, Carol, can we get switched over to the... There we go. Maybe. There you go.
There we go. So, good evening. This application is a site plan amendment at the Salisbury Equestrian Park, Lot 1. Parker Water and Sanitation District is proposing a bulk water distribution system, or station, excuse me. The representative for Parker and Water Sanitation is here and can answer questions for council when staff has finished their presentation. Parker Water and Sanitation District is proposing the construction of a bulk potable water fill station within an approximately 40 square foot prefabricated building that will be located on town property near the south boundary of Salisbury Equestrian Park and just east of the town's operations maintenance facility. A land use proposal located on town-owned property requires a public hearing before the Planning Commission and Town Council per the Land Development Ordinance. Current surrounding uses include open space to the north and east of the park, single-family residential to the west, and large acreage residential to the south in unincorporated Douglas County. The district is proposing a bulk potable water distribution station to provide an option for their bulk water customers and to reduce the number of district customers using hydrants for their bulk water needs. Hydrant use can stir up naturally occurring mineral sediment in the distribution system, resulting in brown water events. The district envisions that the facility will be utilized by customers with small trucks that use about 30,000 gallons or less per month. This photograph is a 2,000-gallon truck and about what they envision this facility to serve. Currently, there are 118 existing bulk fill users. This fill station will also be used by various town departments, including Public Works and Parks and Recreation. The unit will be monitored by district staff and is equipped with security cameras to ensure proper operation and care. A condition of approval has been added that will limit the hours of operation to 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily, which aligns with the start time of the adjacent operations facility. The structure itself is approximately 40 square feet and 7 feet high. It will be located in an area that is currently used by large maintenance vehicles and equipment and is comprised of an open dirt and gravel access and staging area. This area does not currently contain landscaping. The size and scope of the proposal does not warrant the addition of landscaping for this use or in this area. Additionally, the facility is not manned and so does not require off-street parking. The total disturbed area is less than 0.1 acres and no tree removal will be required. The structure will not be visible from the adjacent residential properties due to the height of the structure, 7 feet, and an existing intervening berm that is 12 to 13 feet in height. To accommodate the project, Parker Water Sand has requested that a non-exclusive waterline easement be granted over the project area. The engineering department has reviewed and approved the proposed easement as part of an easement swap between the town and Parker Water Sand District. The district has agreed to dedicate right-of-way and easements necessary for the town to construct a future expansion of Stroh Road and a segment of Lemon Gulch Trail. Referral comments were requested from 9 town departments and outside agencies. 8 recipients either made no comment or advisory-only comments. Parker Engineering provided 2 comments regarding environmental protection. Compliance with these comments will be made a condition of approval. In conclusion, approval of the proposal will allow a bulk water station facility at the town's operations maintenance facility at Salisbury Equestrian Park. This option for bulk water customers will reduce the use of hydrants and the brown water events that can result from their use. Staff has determined that approval of this proposal will provide improved water quality to the current and future residents of the town. This application was heard before the Planning Commission on March 8, 2018. After conducting the public hearing, the Planning Commission approved a motion to recommend the addition of a 9th condition limiting the hours of operation. Staff and the Planning Commission recommend that Town Council approve the site plan amendment to Salisbury Equestrian Park Lot 1 for the bulk potable water distribution station, subject to the 9 conditions contained in staff's report. Staff also recommends approval of Ordinance 1.509 for the waterline easement associated with the site plan amendment. Staff's happy to answer any questions you might have.
Fantastic. Council, any questions? Josh?
If the truck was to get 1,500 gallons, how long would it take to fill?
So at the Planning Commission hearing, someone asked that question.
Was his name Josh Rivero?
No. Parker Water Sand said it would take about 10 or 15 minutes.
10 or 15 minutes, okay.
Okay. Other questions? No? And you said the applicant is here? Representative of the applicant? This is the time to come on down if you have anything else to add. Josh won't ask you any algebra questions about if the barometric pressure was this and the temperature was this, how long would it take to fill? 7. It's a 7, yeah. Name and address for the record, please.
Sure. Rebecca Tejada with Parker Water, 18100 East Woodman Drive. And so first, I'd like to thank Carolyn for working with Parker Water. She's done an excellent job of representing our project. The bulk fill station is a project that the Parker Water Board of Directors supports. It is a benefit to the entire district. It minimizes the number of contractors accessing our hydrants for bulk water, which can stir up naturally occurring iron in our system. The bulk fill station will reduce these occurrences. Parker Water desires the best for our town and for our customers and believes this project supports our goals. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Council, do you have any questions? Math questions for Rebecca?
So how many trips per month do we anticipate, or how many trips per day? Can you quantify this in some way?
I did the math, but I want to.
Right. So we are estimating this here. It could be anywhere from 10 to 20 trucks per day. I would anticipate there are days where we may not see any visits by trucks.
Okay.
Some of it's going to be seasonal dependent, weather dependent.
And out of just anticipation, or just a guess, out of those visits a day, what percentage are the town of Parker?
Oh, honestly, I don't have an answer to that question.
Maybe the town of Parker has an answer to that.
It's development, I would think.
They're all looking at Chris Hudson.
I heard
the town would probably make some use of this facility. How much is hard to say. We do have our own filling capabilities as well, but we would probably utilize the facility to some degree.
Okay.
You don't pull the trucks over to H2 O'Brien and with the hose and siphon, you know?
I don't want
something
the
like that?
chlorine.
When it's draining time.
When it's draining time, okay.
I guess what I'm looking at, council, is adding a condition. I would like a sign placed that says no idling during fill. I think a 15-minute stop time for a truck tends to leave, they tend to leave their diesels running. And I think that was a concern brought by the residents, not to mention for the environmental aspect of having a diesel run for 15 minutes. I just think that I would like to see a sign, if that's feasible.
Council, any other questions?
I have a question.
Yep.
So with this bulk station, it would help eliminate the brown water that comes when people are using it in an area close to that station, not throughout the entire town.
Right. Well, we believe that it would limit the occurrences throughout the district itself. A lot of times the red water occurs because people accessing our water system for bulk fill purposes, so to fill up their trucks from a hydrant. The hydrant nozzle is large and they can pull it at a very high velocity. Those velocities coming out of the system is what stirs up the sediment in the bottom of the pipe, and that's what causes the red water. By going to the bulk fill station and minimizing the people accessing the hydrants, the bulk fill station can only serve at a certain velocity, so the water won't be rushing out of that bulk fill station, so it won't stir up water there, nor will it stir up anywhere else in the system.
And you're saying this would be throughout Parker Water and Sanitation's
believe
district?
Yes, we believe it would be throughout the district. That would minimize, because a lot of the times we get the red water calls, it's because we know someone has opened up a hydrant in that area and it's stirred up the water. Okay. It's not going to eliminate every single occurrence. I would like to get that on the record. But it will minimize the occurrences caused by contractors opening the hydrants.
John?
I think I'm channeling Councilmember Rivera at this point, but yeah, I know, I'm sorry. So how can you police this? I mean, if the goal is to get the developers or the construction people away from the hydrants, is there going to be a special apparatus put on the hydrants to limit or to eliminate their ability to access that point? Because to me, it's a central point. If there's development on the north side, time is money. Why would they want to come to this? Because it's slower.
Right.
If they can just open up a hydrant and call it good.
That's a great question.
Away.
We already police it, so to speak. You can only access water from our hydrants through a hydrant meter that we give to contractors and developers. So people just can't open up hydrants and take water. They have to get a hydrant meter from us. So we will only give hydrant meters to perhaps a large contractor if we know they're going to be in a particular area. Any of the smaller contractors, landscaping companies, they will no longer be provided a hydrant meter. Instead, they will be given an account on which they can actually access the bulk fill station. So they won't have access to the meters.
So is there ever a chance that, say, a small construction person just sort of doesn't know about this hydrant meter and opens it up? Would they be able to do that if?
Right. Well, you have to have a hydrant key in order to open up the hydrants, which the firefighters have and things like that.
Yeah.
Sure, we've actually had people try to steal water from our hydrants. We try to police it. Yeah. We have people call us sometimes saying we think someone is stealing water, and we go and we try to take care of it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Were you filling your hot tub off of a meter?
No.
Or off of a hydrant? Okay.
Questions?
Other questions? Okay. So we have a revision request. There would have to be a motion with that added to it. Josh, did you want to make that motion?
I move to approve, based upon staff findings and the Planning Commission's recommendation, with the following 9 conditions, and additionally, a 10th condition, adding a sign saying no idle during fill, please.
Mayor, I don't think we opened it up to the public.
Oh, did I? Holy cow!
We asked
did
so
just
many
skip that.
questions.
I thought we did open it up. Thank you very much. Sorry, but thank you very much. I appreciate that. We'll open it up for public comment at 8:10 p.m.
You were just seeing if
It's spring break.
Wow, yeah, there was so many comments thrown out that I figured it was.
It's crazy.
All right. Seeing none, we'll close public comment at 8:10 p.m. Now go to a motion. Thanks, Jim.
I move to approve based upon staff findings and the Planning Commission's recommendation with the following 9 conditions, and additionally a 10th condition stating a sign with no idling during fill, please.
Second.
Motion by Josh Rivero and a second by Amy. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item up is item E. This is Village Center Drive right-of-way property.
I think there's a second condition.
Didn't you have both of them on that together?
Did you?
Josh?
Did you the second?
Oh, I'm sorry, no.
Okay. Go ahead.
I move to approve ordinance number 1.509 on second reading.
Second?
Motion by Josh and a second by Josh. Council, please vote.
It's spring break. I'm sorry, y'all.
I know, all of our heads are gone. Motion passes unanimously. Now the next item, item E, this is Village Center Drive right-of-way, property annexation. Carolyn, you're going to be the head honcho on this one too?
I am. So again, good evening. We're going to be looking at the annexation proposal for the Village Center Drive. The town is proposing the annexation of Village Center Drive right-of-way located south of Lincoln Avenue and east of Jordan Road. Appropriate public notice has been provided per state statute. On February 5th, 2018, Town Council set the public hearing date for the Village Center Drive right-of-way annexation petition for tonight, March 19th, 2018. On March 5th, 2018, Town Council unanimously approved the first reading of the Village Center Drive right-of-way annexation. Village Center Drive was constructed in the mid-1990s as part of the Stonegate mixed-use development in unincorporated Douglas County. During the early 2000s, the town annexed 3 of the 4 commercial parcels that utilize Village Center Drive for access. The town did not access the roadway at that time. Douglas County has had a long-standing request that Parker accept ownership and assume maintenance responsibility for Village Center Drive because most parcels that access the roadway are located within the town's incorporated boundary. The blue hatched area is all the annexed area that is inside the town. You can see there's just one that's outside. The staff requested repairs to the roadway as a condition of the town accepting ownership and maintenance responsibility. In 2016, the county repaved Village Center Drive and completed the requested repairs. The town subsequently accepted ownership of the roadway from the county in December of 2017. This proposal meets the statutory requirements for annexation into Parker and is consistent with the Parker 2035 master plan because it is located within the town's urban growth boundary. The Village Center Drive right-of-way project is consistent with the 2035 master plan, is currently owned and maintained by the town, will provide incorporated commercial parcels access within town boundaries, and is contiguous to the town, meeting the statutory requirements for annexation. Staff recommends approval of resolution number 18024 and ordinance number 2.257 for the Village Center Drive right-of-way. Staff's happy to answer any questions you might have.
Council, any questions? I'm done. Okay. Are there any other presentations to go along with this? Hudson, you want to throw anything about a curvy roads or anything? No? It's got a curve in there? Okay.
Roundabouts.
All right, we're going to open this up for public comment at 8:14 p.m. if there's anyone here wishing to address council on these 2 items. Seeing none, we'll close public comment at 8:14. I'll entertain further discussion or a motion, please, on the, we have 2 separate items here.
I move to approve resolution number 18-024.
Second.
Motion by Debbie and a second by Renee. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. And the next item?
I move to approve ordinance number 2.257 on second reading.
Second.
Motion by Debbie and a second by Renee. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item up is item number F, which is Heirloom Parkway Serial 1 and Serial 2 right-of-way property. There are 4 items in this. Item number 1 is resolution number 18-022, which is a resolution to set forth Town Council's finding of fact and conclusions as to the eligibility of the Heirloom Parkway Serial 1 right-of-way property for annexation in the town of Parker. Number 2 is ordinance number 2.255 on second reading, which is a bill for an ordinance approving and accomplishing the annexation of contiguous unincorporated territory known as the Heirloom Parkway Property Serial 1, located located in Douglas County. Number 3 is resolution number 18-023, which is a resolution to set forth Town Council's finding of fact and conclusions as to the eligibility of Heirloom Parkway Serial 2 right-of-way property for annexation into the town of Parker. And item number 4, which is ordinance number 2.256 on second reading, which is a bill for an ordinance approving and accomplishing the annexation of the contiguous unincorporated territory known as the Heirloom Parkway Property Serial 2 located in Douglas County. Carolyn, apparently you drew the short straw because you got all of these tonight, right?
Chris picks on me.
Oh, yes, he does.
So the town is proposing the annexation of a portion of Heirloom Parkway right-of-way that lies between Hess Road and Chambers Road. Again, appropriate public notice has been provided per state statute. On February 5th, 2018, Town Council set the public hearing date for the Heirloom Parkway Series 1 and 2 right-of-way annexation petitions for tonight, March 19th, 2018. On March 5th, 2018, Town Council unanimously approved the first reading of Heirloom Parkway Series 1 and 2 right-of-way annexations. The portion of Heirloom Parkway under review is north of Hess Road and southwest of Chambers Road and is indicated by the blue line shown on this slide. The Heirloom Parkway right-of-way was acquired by the developer from Parker Water and Sanitation District to serve the Heirloom residential development in 2012. Heirloom Parkway was constructed by the developer and dedicated to the town in 2016. Staff proposes to annex the roadway into the town since it is owned and maintained by the town. Approval of Serial 1 and Serial 2 will allow for the annexation of the full length of Heirloom Parkway into the town. The town has owned and maintained this roadway since it was accepted from the developer in 2016. To meet statutory requirements for contiguity, a serial annexation that is done in 2 sections is required. Serial 1 is located between the town boundary and a point approximately 109 feet north of the intersection of Heirloom Parkway and Hess Road. Serial 2 is the remaining 109-foot section of Heirloom Parkway. The proposal is consistent with the Parker 2035 master plan because it is located within the town's urban growth boundary, which was amended in 2016 in anticipation of future annexation. So you can see that the red there is the urban growth boundary and the blue is the town boundary. The Heirloom Parkway Serial 1 and 2 right-of-way project is consistent with the 2035 master plan, is currently owned and maintained by the town, will allow annexation of the full length of the roadway into the town, and is contiguous to the town, meeting the statutory requirements for annexation. Staff recommends approval of resolution number 18022 and ordinance number 2.55 for the Heirloom Parkway Serial 1 right-of-way. Staff also recommends approval of resolution number 18-023 and ordinance number 2.256 for the Heirloom Parkway Serial 2 right-of-way. Staff's happy to answer any questions you might have.
Council, questions? Josh, questions? No? All right. We'll open it up for public comment at 8:19 p.m. if there's anyone here wishing to address council on this item. Scouts? No? No scout? All right, just that. Cereal? Yeah. Lucky Charms, different cereal. All right. Seeing none, we'll close public comment at 8:19 p.m. and I'll entertain further discussion or a motion on the 4 different items.
I move to approve resolution number 18-022.
Second.
Motion by John and a second by Debbie. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item.
I move to approve ordinance number 2.255 on second reading.
Second.
Motion by John and a second by Josh. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item.
I move to approve resolution number 18-023.
Second.
Motion by John, second by Josh. Council, please vote. Motion passes. Next item.
I move to approve ordinance number 2.256 on second reading.
Second.
Motion by Amy, second by Debbie. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item is item G. This is ordinance number 1.507.1 on second reading. This is a bill for an ordinance to adopt the 2018 revised budget for the town of Parker and to make appropriations for the same. Mary Lou, you sure look a lot like Rhonda.
Thank you. I don't know to say that. Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. The purpose of this budget revision is to appropriate funds to carry over unspent 2017 appropriations and to appropriate additional funds for 2018. The total carryover from 2017 is $17,009,720, which includes $3,256,629 in the general fund, $1,947,860 in the Parks and Recreation Fund, $505,460 in the Cultural Fund, $257,390 in the Recreation Fund, $10,530,206 in the Capital Improvements Fund, $203,675 in the Stormwater Fund, and $308,500 in the Information Technology Fund. Again, those are all carry forward money from approved projects from 2017 into 2018. Then we have a total supplemental appropriation for 2018, which is $1,657,361, which is offset by $810,900 of the revenue, for actually a net increase in revenue of $153,539. And then there's details under that also I can go into if you'd like me to. The expenditures include $208,410 in the general fund, $719 in the Parks and Recreation Fund, $4,300 in the Cultural Fund, $1,500 in the Recreation Fund, $157,432 in the Capital Improvements Fund, $35,000 in the Stormwater Fund, and $1,250,000 in the Information Technology Fund. And then the revenue includes $1.5 million in the General Fund, $48,800 in the Cultural Fund, $195,000 in the Recreation Fund, $18,000 in the Stormwater Fund, and $15,000 in the Fleet Services Fund. And there is a detail of the items that are part of the packet behind the dollars. And the recommendation is to approve the ordinance 1.507.1 for the budget carryover and supplemental.
Council, questions for Rhonda? None? All right. We'll open up for public comment at 8:23 p.m. If there's anyone here to address council on it. Seeing none, we'll close public comment at 8:23 and I'll entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
Move to approve ordinance 1.507.1 on second reading.
Second.
Motion by Josh Martin, second by Josh Rivero. Council, please vote. Excellent. For the scouts or those in the audience who are paying attention to what that was, what you might be curious about what just happened with that. If there's a project that happens in the town that's going to span a budget year, so some things take a couple years to do, the money gets approved in 1 year, but if it's not all spent in that year, it has to be legally moved to the next year so it can be spent to finish that project. And that's just what these carryover dollars were. So they were, Rhonda was explaining that, you know, where the money was and what it's going for in the next year. It wasn't just found money somewhere. So, all right, next up is item number 8. Our ordinance is 8A. This is for ordinance number 1.510 on second reading. This is a bill for an ordinance conveying certain real property by easement to Parker Water and Sanitation District for Track T, Riata North, filing number 1. Alex, you're gonna rock and roll this one.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. As you mentioned, this item is in reference to a request for a water line easement on a town-owned property by Parker Water and Sanitation District. The property in question, which is Track T of Riata North, filing number 1, is located generally at the northwest corner of Hilltop Road and Canterbury Parkway. It's located just west of Tallman Park. The district has requested a water line easement near the western boundary of this property to accommodate an underground water line proposed with the second phase of the district's water resource centralization project. This project has the general goal of consolidating water facilities and resources throughout the district. As part of a use by special review application, a new water line is proposed to be constructed within Track T to connect Parker Water's facility within the Robinson Ranch development to the southwest with their facility within this open space. The water line is proposed to enter the southwest corner of the property from the Hilltop Road right-of-way and connect to the well facility. A 25-foot wide, non-exclusive water line easement is proposed to be dedicated over this alignment. As Carolyn mentioned earlier, this easement is proposed to be dedicated to the district as part of an ongoing easement and right-of-way exchange between the town and district. Shown on this slide are the proposed right-of-way and easements that Parker Water and Sanitation District proposes to dedicate to the town in return for these easements. This Parker Water-owned property is located south of Stroh Road, adjacent to Cherry Creek, just south of the Stroh Soccer Park. The area shown in red is area that the town anticipates needing for future right-of-way and slope easements needed for the future expansion of Stroh Road. The area in yellow is a conceptual trail easement that the town anticipates needing for an extension of the Lemon Gulch Trail through this property. The area of right-of-way and easements requested by both the town and the district are roughly equal, as Carolyn mentioned, so this is proposed to be just an exchange of easements and right-of-way between the two entities. That concludes staff's report. Rebecca Tejada with Parker Water is here to answer any questions you might have about that. Staff does recommend approval of this ordinance. Thank you.
Excellent. Council, any questions before we have Rebecca come up? No? I have one question, and I don't know if this is for town or for Rebecca, so if you want to defer, then that's fine. If you go back one more slide. So I'm just curious about the trail easement to be granted, that yellow. I know that the Cherry Creek Trail is just on the other side of Cherry Creek right there. Is this meant to replace that access of Cherry Creek Trail, or just an additional trail running parallel with it?
Yeah, the idea is to connect. This will be the Lemon Gulch Trail. Will run along this alignment. That will go southwesterly into new developments throughout the town. So the idea is, and we need to work through this engineering-wise, is to connect it under the Stroh Bridge into the trail system through the Stroh Soccer Park and connect the Lemon Gulch Trail to the Cherry Creek Trail eventually in that manner.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Rebecca, did you have anything else you'd like to add to it? No? Did a great job. All right, fantastic. We'll open it up for public comment at 8:27 p.m. Seeing no movement, we'll close public comment at 8:27, and I'll entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
I move to approve ordinance number 1.510 on second reading.
Second.
Motion by Debbie and a second by Renee. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item is item number B. This is ordinance number 9.262.1 on second reading. This is a bill for an ordinance approving the agreement regarding design and construction of drainage and flood control improvements for Newland Gulch downstream of Heirloom Parkway by and between Urban Drainage and Flood Control District and the Town of Parker, agreement number 16-11.23A, project number 106484. Hey, buddy, how are you? You got the blue shirt memo.
That's right. Yep.
All right, Jacob, it's yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. members of council.
Engineering blue. Is that the official color of? Yeah. And Chris has got it too.
Oh, Dave.
Hey, Dave, come on. Did you miss the memo?
He's a rebel.
You work in a different building. Okay, that's why.
I'm not with these
I'm not
people.
with these engineers. We're our own engineers.
Yeah, he's traffic.
He's traffic. That's kind of a traffic off-white color thing.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. The item you have before you tonight is an amendment to an agreement with the Urban Drainage and Flood Control District regarding construction of the Newland Gulch improvements at Heirloom Parkway. The engineering for this project has been completed, and we're now in the federal permitting process. Urban Drainage and Flood Control District has already approved and appropriated an additional $200,000 for this project. And our town stormwater budget for 2018 also included this project as a 50% match for another $200,000. And in addition, the district is holding funds from a previous joint effort with the town, the Cottonwood Creek Detention Pond project of $279,117.66, which will be moved into this construction fund. To orient yourselves, at the top of this photo here, the intersection of Chambers and Main Street is up in the top left-hand corner. If you go down Chambers to the oval, Heirloom Parkway is the extension right along Chambers Road, and our project is directly adjacent to that between the East-West Trail and Chambers Road. The main reason for the project is this picture is a picture of the currently constructed check structure that's degraded 3 feet, and the design includes stabilizing the creek on both sides between the East-West Trail and Chambers. This is a picture of our overall design. It includes several loose rock, riffle, drop structures, and bank protection, and a meandering stream to dissipate the energy throughout the reach. On the downstream side of our project, we'll be tying into the recently constructed drop structure right next to the east-west trail. And so with that, this project will stabilize the Newland Gulch channel throughout the reach. It'll reduce erosion and sediment transport downstream. It's eligible for urban drainage maintenance assistance in the future, and it incorporates and implements the master plan of the Newland Gulch stabilization. So with that, staff recommends approval of ordinance number 9.262.1, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Council, any questions for Jacob? No? Okay, we'll open it up for public comment at 8:31. Anyone wants to add testimony, drop structures, erosion, meandering streams? No? All right, we'll close public comment at 8:31 p.m. and I'll entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
I move to approve ordinance number 9.262.1 on second reading.
Second.
Motion by Josh, second by Amy. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. With no further business before council, we will adjourn at 8:31 p.m. For those of you who are going out of town for spring break, I'm surprised you're not already out of town, but if you're going to go out of town, have a safe trip. We'll see you all next time.